On today's show, we are going to dive deep into the Ender 3 Pro. Hey, welcome to The First Layer. My name is Richard Cleveland. I'm your host here 3 times a week. On today's show, we are going to be diving into the Ender 3 Pro, which I have here right on my desk. We're going to take a look at what board is inside. We're going to have a look at the new hot end that they apparently have put on this machine. We're going to build it up and get right into it. We got a lot to cover today, so let's get going. We're going to start by opening the box. And I don't have a special knife, so I'm just going to use a putty knife. This is the fun part. So inside the box, it's always fun when you're trying to get in. We have, of course, the wonderful packing foam. Put that down there for now. We get our standard warranty card and parts information. What else do we get in here? We get a little bit of PLA. We get some tools to put together our machine, as always. We get a end stop and some extra fittings. First and foremost, what I want to examine is this guy right here. This is the Meanwell power supply. And I'm just going to go over to my overhead here so you guys can have a look at this. So they've changed the power supply. They have gone to a Meanwell power supply. You're going to have to set the switch. I know the light's pretty bright there, but right now it's set to 230. So we are going to actually change that by using one of our Allen keys. And we're going to set it for our voltage in this country. The reason that we do this is because we don't want to burn out the power supply. So we are going to change that to 110. It is now ready to go for our country. This is a genuine Meanwell power supply. And how do I know that? Well, there's a serial number on the side of every Meanwell power supply, and you can go ahead and check that with Meanwell's inspection reports. Then we have all of our screws and nuts and things like that. Got back here. We've got our standard power cord. Put that over by my Dalek. Exterminate. Here we have, it's going to be a little tough for me to get out. Here is the LCD screen, which we will be putting on a little bit later. We have our extrusion here. The 4 pieces of extrusion here. I'm going to put those down here. What do we have here? We have one of our Z-axis plates. We have our putty knife. And there's nothing else in that foam. Nope, nothing. So we're going to toss that down there for now. Now we can get down to the meat and potatoes. So we'll grab out what we need here. This is your Z-axis rod. We have the printer here. We've got another piece of extrusion. So we're going to grab this out. We're going to need this especially. And we're going to dive deep into this one. I'm going to show you exactly what's new on this machine. Here's our extruder. our extruder motor. A couple of other little doodads in here. I think this is the last piece. Of course, this is for our spool holder. And that is pretty much it in a nutshell. Okay. Let's put all the foam back inside the box. And we'll just toss this box down and out of our way for a moment. All right. So we've got all of our usual suspects here. It is the same style of extruder. Let's go over here. So the extruder setup is exactly the same as on previous models. Nothing has changed there. So it's brand spanking new. We'll just put that over there because we're going to be using it in a little bit. Again, we've talked about the Meanwell power supply. We know that that is a genuine Meanwell. We have all of our tools. What I really want to show you guys is, let me just move all of this out of frame here. What I really want to show you is the work that went into some of the changes here. And if I bring the Ender 3 into frame here a little bit, you guys can see that better. Here's the extrusion housing. Now, they have said that it is a Mark 10 extruder. I've seen that in their documentation. However, as I take off the cover here, I've already noticed that this is not a Mark 10. This is their same Mark 8 that they use on other extruders, and I'm going to show you why I know that. As soon as we just take out these couple of screws here so I can remove the housing for you. Then we're going to dive into the board. I'm going to show you what's different down on the board. Now, they've said this is supposed to come with a Mark 10. I don't think that they've actually gotten to that point yet. Or I don't think all these machines are coming with a Mark 10. So we're going to take off the cover here. And this is the standard, as we go back to the overhead. Okay, so this is the standard Mark 8 extruder that they've been using on other printers, like the CR10, the Ender. And the reason I know that is because there's one in this packet right here. Now this packet is a CR10S value added package. You can get these from anybody that pretty much sells Ender 3 or Creality products. If we compare these side by side, you can see that they are exactly the same. There's no difference in them whatsoever. They are exactly the same. So if you're being told that you've got a Mark 10 extruder or Mark 10 hot end inside your Creality Ender 3 Pro, somebody is mistaken. So we'll put that back together. Put that off to the side. We'll put that back together in a moment. What I do want to check now is the board that is in the control box here. Now, they've said that, some people have said that this is an upgraded board. I personally can't see that. It does not look as though this board comes off. So we're going to have to do a little bit of surgery on this. And we will start down here. Wow, there we go. Let's just flip the whole printer over. That'll save us some time. So what they've done basically is they flipped this whole apparatus upside down, and they put the fan blower blowing up. Now you have roughly 3 or 4 millimeters here of padding. They're anti-vibration pattern, I guess that you could call it, or padding. And the problem with this is that I don't think there's enough airflow to come out the bottom here, because you've got very little room But we're going to have a look and we'll see for ourselves exactly what's going on here. Take those screws out and make sure we don't lose them. These are in quite tight, so. Now this is going to sit a little taller than the standard unit because they have gone to a 40-40 extrusion right here down for the center of your y-axis, which means it's a little bit wider and a little bit taller. Or pardon me, it's not any taller, it's just a little bit wider. I'm sorry. We'll have to see if this is indeed a benefit to this machine. So let's have a look inside here. We can get this cable out of the way. Well, they didn't make this easy to come apart, did they? What am I caught on? I'm not caught on anything. It's the whole... Wow, they did make this thing tough to get into. Okay, it looks like we've got to take out one more screw here. Take this whole side panel off. Now, as a person who tinkers, this is probably not the best setup. Because I'm a tinkerer and I like to get into the machine and see what's going on. It looks as though what they've done here is they've just taken this whole thing and there we go. Now we've got that loosened. All right. Let's put it back down and we will have a look at that board. Now, some people have said the board has changed. Some people are claiming it's not changed. And if we look at the version number that is on this board, it in fact is a 1.1.3. Kind of tough to see it right there. There you go. You might be able to zoom in on that. That is a 1.1.3. So it is the exact same board that is inside of the regular Ender. That hasn't changed at all. I'll bend that back into place a little bit. Put this back on. So the board is the same. The the hot end is the same. They haven't changed anything there. So now it's just a matter of checking out to see what really is the big difference in this machine. So we're going to go and check that out, and we will be right back. So lastly, the other improvement that they made to the Ender 3 Pro was a magnetic build surface. And what they've done a little bit differently than some other people is they have their aluminum bed, but they have a magnet sheet on the bed as well as on the back of the removable plate. They did something good here. They actually put a little finger notch, I like to call it, or a finger tab, so that when you are pulling this off the bed, it's a little easier to get it off and lined back up again. You'd think I didn't know what I was doing, but due to contrary belief, I did get it back on. It is a little tough to line it up properly, but once you get it lined up, you're in good shape. So they do have their Ender 3 BuildTak clone on top of there. And again, like I said, the extruder is exactly the same that's on the previous Ender 3. Do I think the improvements are worth the $100 that Creality is asking for this printer? Honestly, no. I will applaud them for going to a Meanwell power supply because I think that this power supply is a better power supply all around. It is good for every country, so and it does have some approval ratings that other cheaper power supplies in previous generations of the Ender 3 did not have. So let's go ahead. We're going to put this all together and we'll come back when it's all set up. Well, there you have it, the Ender 3 Pro. A couple of things that I would do differently with this machine is I would invest into new springs. I'll just go to the overhead here. These are the same springs that come on the CR10 and the larger machines. They're a little bit stiffer. So I would replace the ones that are underneath the heat bed. On this unit, and I'll just turn it so you guys can kind of see those there. They're a very sort of thin spring. They're a little bit smaller. So personally, what I would do is I would take the wheels off and then replace those with something that's just a little stiffer. So you can see it there. So that's probably the only thing I would do right out of the box with the Ender 3 Pro is replace those bed springs. They're not the greatest ones that come with the Ender 3 Pro. It's the same springs that come on the Ender 3. You can buy these online, or you can always go to spool3d.ca and grab some. They have them available. The Meanwell power supply, just want to reiterate a couple of things here, that when the part cooling fan comes on, then the fan down in the control box also comes on. They are linked together on the control box. There are a couple of videos out there that are talking about how you can separate them, but to be perfectly honest with you, if you want to keep the warranty on your machine, don't muck around with the electronics at all. I would go ahead and, just like I've done on my Ender or my Ender 3 regular, is I would still print the control box back for this. I would probably print the extension arm for the spool holder up on top. Leveling it is going to be just as easy. Let's have a quick peek at the menu system here. We'll just turn this around so you guys can see the menu system. I don't know how, that's probably coming in a little bright. Now it's wobbling because I have my mat underneath of it, so I'm going to just remove the mat for a moment. And that way you guys can see it a little bit better. So the LCD here, let's just have a look quickly. We have prepare, disable steppers, auto home, ABS, cool down, move axis, that kind of thing. So it is manual bed leveling. There are no bed leveling settings on this. Just like on the Ender, there are no bed leveling settings. So I would take that with a grain of salt. So if you are going to level the bed, again, you want to make sure that your bed is tightened all the way down, just like I've got here. Just grab yourself a Post-it note. I find these things work the best. You want to go into the control menu, and you want to make sure that you've got both your hot end and your bed heated. So we're going to go down to temperature. We're going to go down to bed first. We're going to heat up that bed. We're going to heat it up to 60 degrees, which is normally where we're going to be for PLA. So there we are at 60, and then we're going to do the nozzle right around 200. That seems fair. That's about where I print most of my PLA anyway. So now we'll go back to the control. And you can see that they're heating up there. I don't know how well that's coming through on camera. Probably not very well. But it is heating up. It says it takes less than a few minutes for this bed to heat up because of the Meanwell power supply. So once you've reached the temperatures on the Creality, you've got your bed up to 60 degrees and you've got your nozzle up to 200. You're going to go ahead and level the bed, and I'm going to show you how I do it. That way you guys will have a better idea of how to set it up for yourselves. And then go ahead and run a test print and see how everything's working for you. I like to use a bed leveling test print. That way that's my first print that I do. And that's going to put little squares down in the corners of the bed. And that's going to tell me if one side is a little too high or one side's a little too low. Something that I always recommend when getting to bed leveling is, as you guys know, I don't do the traditional square or this way. What I do is I go from corner to corner, then I will move to this corner, back up to that back corner, and then finally I end up back where I started. Now the reason I do that is because every time this side moves, this back corner moves as well. It's like a seesaw. So basically what you want to do is you want to go from one corner to the other and then meet back at the center, and then you can put your hot end in the center and see how that does. All right, so we're there now, and we can see that we are quite far away. Like that paper is just sitting there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disable all of the steppers now by going into Prepare, go down to Disable Steppers. Now I can freely move the steppers. And what I want to do is I want to center this over top of that screw as best I can. Then I'm going to drop my piece of paper in there, and I'm going to start raising it up. And I'm going to do both sides at the same time. Both corners at the same time. And then I'm going to go to these corners and start loosening them up. That's going to help to bring up the bed. And once I've done that, I can check to see how far away I am. Oh, I've still got quite a distance to go here. So I can continue. And you're probably wondering, well, why are you doing those other two corners as well, Rich? Well, because I've got it so far down, I want to bring it up to a level that is going to be consistent across the bed. So then it's just going to be micro adjustments for me as well. So we're still quite far away. Now again, with a stiffer spring in here, you will notice that the bed will go up a lot faster when you're moving these wheels around. I'm going to bring this one up just so I'm kind of in that same neighborhood. Same thing over here. I'm going to bring that up till I'm kind of in the same neighborhood. And I'm just feeling with my finger where I'm at. We got quite a ways yet to go. Now I'm stuck right in there, so I'm going to bring that down a bit, and I'm just going to get it to where it's dragging. Okay, so I've got a little bit of drag there, so now I'm going to move it over. I'm going to move the bed forward, move it over to this corner, get it kind of centered above that area, and now I'm just going to adjust this wheel up till I can just feel. There we go. Now I'm going to come down here. Oh, that's quite tight. So we're going to loosen that down a little bit. And now we can come in here. And again, we're kind of right over that area. Just till I feel that drag. I don't want too much drag. I just want a little bit. And now finally, we're going to go back to this corner back up here. And we've got a little bit of room there, so let's go ahead and just bring that one up till we're in that neighborhood. There we go, and now we're just going to come back to here, see where we're at. We've got a little bit of room, so we can tighten that up just a little bit. Again, I've got that drag, and I'll do this 2 or 3 times. And that corner is way down. So now we're going to lift this a little bit. And that seems pretty good. I got some good drag there. And now we'll just go to the front corner. And we know that the front corner is a little high because we could feel that when we were getting there. That seems pretty good. And now let's go back to that back corner. Get our paper underneath there. Now we're a little high in this corner, so we'll just bring it down, get our paper under, and again, just play around a little bit till we got that right amount of drag. Now, I can come down to the front corner, and I should have pretty easy drag. Now what I'll do is I'll try and find the center and see exactly where I'm at in the center. And I'm a little tight in that center. So this tells me that my plate is a little bowed in the center, so I'm just going to back that off just a little bit. Little micro adjustments here. And that's why these big wheels are so essential, because now I can get my paper under there. Still a little tight in that center, so we'll just evenly turn those wheels down just a little bit. And if we're unsure, we can always go back and check that front corner again. Yeah, we still got a little bit of drag there, so we're good. So this bed on this particular one is a little humped. So move that up out of the way, and you are good to go. And now you're ready to start your first print. So happy printing with the Ender 3 Pro. So let me just move it back over to here. Now, one of the things that you're going to want to do with the Ender 3 Pro is you're going to want to go around and tighten up all of the screws. When you first put this machine together, it's going to be a little unsquare. So it's going to rock on the table. How you can fix that is before you put this on, because these side screws on both sides, where that center channel goes across, they're a little bit loose. They're not completely tightened down. So you can kind of manipulate that just by moving the two upright Z rails, and just move it till you get it nice and flat on the ground. Come back and tighten up. There's 4 screws on either side. Tighten those up and you'll be good to go. And this will be rock solid and flat on your table. So there it is, the Ender 3. The Ender 3 Pro, pardon me. Do I think it's worth what they were saying as $100 more? No. And you're going to find that most retailers online are selling this for just about $20, $20 to $50 more than the Ender 3 Standard Edition. So I know at Spool 3D, they are selling it for $20 more. So the regular Ender 3 is $329 in Canada, and the Ender 3 Pro is $349 in Canada. Still a great value for a great machine made by a good company. Everything that you're seeing on this machine as far as firmware, it's the same firmware that's in the Ender 3. They've just made some mechanical upgrades. So with that said, my friends, I got a few people to thank. First and foremost, I want to thank Spool 3D for allowing me to build and have a look at this Ender 3 Pro. And we'll be putting it out on their showroom floor in just a couple of minutes. Remember that Spool 3D has everything that you need, from printers to filaments and accessories, everything that you can possibly need for your 3D printer needs. They've got on their website. So check them out today at spool3d.ca. Print it right, print it with Spool 3D. I want to thank my great staff, starting with the lovely Jess Corniching, who is down with the flu this week. And we hope that she gets better very, very soon. Frank Awesome, the always awesome Frank Awesome. And of course, Brian Baker, who is out in Ontario right now. Craziness, all kinds of craziness going on. So he's out in Ontario, so there's just me in the studio today. And so I went ahead and built this just for you guys. Now, I want to also thank my Patreons for their help with everything that they've done for the show, with their financial support. We do really appreciate it. If you want to become a Patreon, you can always head over to patreon.com/TheFirstLayer. Or if you're not into a monthly commitment, or you can't afford, because I know times are tough, if you'd just like to buy us a coffee, you can always do that by going to buymeacoffee.com/TheFirstLayer. And there you can buy us all a cup of coffee. And we all enjoy coffee around here. I want to thank my lovely wife, who supplies the treats behind the scene, and she does a lot of the model cleanup that I need done. So thank you to my wife, Geraldine. And with that said, my friends, that is the end of the show for today. I do want to remind you that if you are new here, please remember to hit that subscribe button, click that little bell notification, like, comment, and share with all of your friends. And remember that the First Layer is always your foundation to a great print. I'll see you next time.